All righty. Welcome in. Alabama Politics this week. Josh Moon and
David Person.
how are you, David?
Well, it's a very interesting Wednesday, the day that we tape, the day that
It
we
is
record.
indeed.
It's
It
an
is
extremely
indeed.
interesting day, and I'll just leave it at that until after we do our sponsorship hit, and then we can get into it. But boy, is it an interesting Wednesday!
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. Well, listen, we got a good one for you today. One way or the other, it's going to be a good one. We definitely have Bill Britt from Alabama Political Reporter in the V on with us, and who I obviously work with. We're going to talk about his story today about the Republican Party and whether or not it's going to certify Tommy Tuberville and allow him to be on the ballot. Apparently, some folks are balking at that over in amongst the Republicans, and so we'll definitely have that possibility of having Congresswoman Terry Sewell on. She is a very busy lady, but she has told us she wants to do this show with us, and so if she can slide it into her busy schedule, then we're definitely going to give it every shot that we can. If not, she'll be on with us next week. So one way or the other. One way or the other, we'll be enjoying the Congresswoman. All right. Before we get rolling, though, with any of that, I need to tell you about our friends over at Wind Creek Entertainment. They are the fine sponsors of this program, and because it is Alabama Politics This Week, brought to you by Wind Creek Entertainment, and we appreciate them and what they do, and we appreciate what they do for the state of Alabama as well. They operate 3 fine resort casinos in this state, in Wetumpka, Atmore, and Montgomery. And listen, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Go and stay. You will not regret it. Listen, this would make a fantastic Christmas gift for your loved one. The
Great
spas,
idea.
yeah, the spas at either place.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. You listen. I've told you my philosophy before about you just want to watch the game, okay, and you want to do everything in life that allows you to just watch the game. Okay. So you don't want any trouble. You don't want any strife. You want everybody to be happy. So they walk by and you just are watching the game and nobody thinks anything differently. Nobody's angry about anything. A spa trip assures that you get to watch a lot of games. Okay. And so I'm just telling you, live life as I am recommending here. But
So
listen,
now,
look them
do
up.
you
Oh,
do you
go ahead.
recommend these? Do you recommend this anecdote, antidote? I guess is the right word. Do you recommend this antidote like quarterly or more than once a year? I take it because I mean we
Hey,
got
I
multiple
recommend
seasons
it.
here.
I recommend it as needed. For some of us, that would be more than others.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. Yeah.
For some of us,
But
some of us
what
may
I'm
be
but
skilled in other areas that we can, you know what I'm saying?
good point. Good point.
But
But what I'm
if
hearing
you
you
need
say
it,
is that if you do it, you're kind
huh?
of it's like putting some money in your savings account for a
That's
rainy
right.
day. That's what I'm hearing
That
you
is
say.
absolutely right.
Uh,
That is
uh,
just, listen, a little bit of just unexpected happiness goes a long way. And I'm telling you,
yeah,
you hook it
yeah.
up with our friends at look, do this. Let me tell you this, okay? Here's how you
I
get to
love
you,
this.
you,
I
you do
love
this,
this.
okay? You book you don't tell anybody. You book it up, okay? You book up the
Yeah,
spa trip, and then you get a
yeah,
dinner reservation for after the spa trip, and you get a room at
yeah,
the place. And so
yeah,
find somebody to keep the kids. What? Oh man,
yeah.
listen. It is.
And you
Listen,
may
I'm
get
telling you.
dividends beyond just being able to watch the
I'm.
game too.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. All right. Look
Yeah, I
up our
love it.
friends
I
at
love
Wind
it.
Creek. Look up our friends at Wind Creek Entertainment online. Book a stay with them. Book the spa trip. Contact them about the gift certificates. You will not be disappointed with the results that you receive. I promise you. I'm like, I'm like Ron Propel here with, whatever the oven thing that he used to sell. Listen, just set it and forget it because this is locked in. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. All right.
I love it, man. I love it. Josh Moon, not only columnist and podcaster, but
Life coach.
wedding, marriage therapist, maybe
I don't. Let's not get
relationship
carried away.
therapist.
I would just say overall life coach.
Oh,
You
is
know,
that the way you put it? All right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All right.
Yeah. Whew.
So we were prepared
Mhm.
here to speak of the folding of our beloved Democrats on the shutdown, the government shutdown. They folded. This obviously is set up. This is orchestrated by leadership. Chuck Schumer found 8 people to go in and do this thing, and
Hmm.
and so we were going to talk about this. Then there was another story
A
broke.
news bomb. Yeah, yeah,
And the emails, some of the emails that had been turned over by apparently by the Epstein estate,
yeah,
as to the investigation that's ongoing, the congressional
yeah,
investigation that's ongoing, were released by Democrats, and there were like 30,000 emails, I believe, but everyone is kind
yeah,
of
it's
focused on one in
quite a few.
particular
Yeah.
that's gotten a lot of attention, and I'm sure there will be, as folks dig through these things, there will be some others that are also, land like an atomic bomb. But this one, in particular, referenced one Donald John Trump specifically, and it was from Jeffrey Epstein to now in prison, the late Jeffrey Epstein, to the now imprisoned Ghislaine Maxwell, his setup person, I guess is the only way you can call her that, for his
That's a
fixer
nice
for,
way. Yeah.
yeah, his fixer for the underage, the child rape, I guess you could call it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they are talking about Donald Trump, and specifically Donald Trump keeping quiet about what's going on with Epstein, calling him the dog that has not barked, and and referencing the fact that he spent multiple hours at Epstein's home with a known victim in this.
Yeah. Yeah. So both of the emails that you're talking about, the one that I think the first one you referenced, it looked to me as I looked at it, it looked as though it was between Maxwell and Epstein is what it looked
Yes.
like to me. And then the second one was between Epstein and the guy who the biographer, and I'm drawing a blank on his name right now because I don't have it in front of me,
Wolf.
but
Wolf.
yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you, Michael Wolff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the both of them implicate very strongly Donald Trump in terms of knowledge
Yeah.
related to direct knowledge related to the sex trafficking and the illicit activity that was going on, the rapes. I guess we could just call them rapes,
Mm-hmm.
of underage young women or whatever age they were, and it's damning. There's no question. This is damning. Now, is it conclusive? Don't know that we can say it's conclusive, but it's absolutely damning.
Well,
And the White
I mean,
House,
let's.
well, I was just going to say the White House is trying to say Trump is not implicated. This was a selective release of emails by Democrats suggesting this is just more politics. But if you
Mhm.
read the emails, it's clearly it's not politics at all. Not the emails aren't.
No,
Now,
no,
maybe the
and that's
release,
exactly what I
you
was going
know,
to say. Yeah,
yeah, maybe the
yeah,
release is, but
yeah,
the emails themselves, the content, there's nothing political about them.
yeah. That's exactly what I was going to point out, is that these things were not written by people who were trying to get Donald Trump in trouble. These things were not written by people. It's not like this is a confession from Ghislaine Maxwell, in which there could be some ulterior motive in this. This is not that. This is them corresponding with one another, and speaking about things that have happened, in a private conversation.
And Josh, let me just add real quickly to what you're saying. A private conversation, two email exchanges that happened years ago. We're not talking
Yes,
about something that happened, within this election cycle, for example.
right.
This
Yeah, this
goes
was
back to
was it
prior to
2017
the
or?
I thought one was 2015. I'm going to pull it up while you're talking. I think one was
All right, yeah.
2015 I saw, and maybe the
Okay.
other one was 2017. Let me look that
Oh
up
yeah,
again.
yeah. Pull those up, because I'd love to get the exact dates on when they were written, because
Hmm.
I thought I had read in one of the stories that it was something that had been a factor, or something that had been mentioned previously in the before the 2020 election cycle. But regardless, yeah, I mean, this is, I mean, come on, man. What are we even talking about anymore? Look, we all know what's going on here. Okay. I mean, this is, we had the whole shutdown. Part of the reason for this shutdown and the unwillingness of Republicans to negotiate, which worked out in their favor, apparently, was the fact that they did not want to bring the House back into session because they knew that as soon as they did, they were going to have to seat the Democratic Congresswoman from Arizona. That was going to give them enough votes in the House to push forward with releasing the Epstein files. And that was going to be a huge blow to the president because he's there was another story the other day about how the folks from the DOJ had briefed certain Republican senators on the fact that Trump, it's pretty bad. What's in there is bad for Trump. It's not just that his name is in there and he's mentioned. The things that he's mentioned doing and how he's mentioned is very, very bad for him. And so they're protecting this dude. All of the, we're going to catch the pedophiles, we're going to expose the pedophile ring. Oh, you were backing the pedophile this whole time. I mean, I don't care who else is in there. All right. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I know this
Yeah,
guy's in
same
there.
here. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the emails, the one between Maxwell and Epstein, goes back to 2011. That's the one in which she implied Trump
Ooh,
was the dog who
okay.
didn't bark in the room while whatever was going on was going on. And then the one between Epstein and Wolf was in
Yeah.
2019. So we're
Right.
still talking about, at the very least, we're talking about 6 years removed from where we are today, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No,
Epstein is still alive,
I mean,
obviously.
2011 is a long time
Yeah,
ago. I mean,
2011.
2011 is
2011.
before Donald Trump even I mean, he had considered running for president. It had been a joke a few times. And, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
let's keep in mind, even in 2016, he was a joke for 85% of that campaign up until the point that he won the nomination. And then even still, everyone thought, even he thought that he was going to get just crushed by Hillary Clinton because, I mean, why wouldn't you think that? I mean, look at who he is and who she is. And so, yeah, I mean, so anything written prior to that is certainly not written with a political edge in mind on this thing, and it's just, and I want to stress again, like, I don't, nothing. I don't care who else is in there. I mean, there would be if there were some people in there that I have known, that I've spoken with or whatever, and they have done some bad things, my response would be, oh man, I did not see that coming. My God, that's terrible. But you know what? You did the stuff. You got to go. I don't understand why this is. I don't understand why people are so attached to Trump. I don't understand it. Why are they so attached to this guy that they're going to that they have staked out a position that they'll defend him on any front, no matter what he does? I just don't get it. I do not understand it at all.
It's a very disturbing thing, but it's strange how, and I'm going to use an example that maybe is a little closer to home for some people. I remember distinctly there was a church in Alabama. This was, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something, a church in Alabama where a pastor was being accused credibly, and I think it may have even been established that this
Mm-hmm.
pastor had had a sexual relationship with an underage young woman at his church. And I
Right.
remember distinctly reading a story about this, and there were people at this church, Josh, who were defending the pastor. I also recall a story that became a national story about I'm going to use pastor again, a church scenario again here. I think he was out in Texas or someplace, who confessed to having had an inappropriate relationship with a young woman when he was a youth pastor at the church or something like that. And the church ended up giving him a standing ovation after he confessed. Now, I'm not saying every single person in the church stood up, but as I recall the story, a good number of people did. So
Yeah.
I think there is this really strange tendency baked into the minds of some people that it almost doesn't matter. Well, it goes back to what Trump said himself. He said himself, he told us, and he was right, that he could shoot somebody in the middle of the street and it wouldn't have any impact on him at all. Well, this is equivalent to that in my mind. What we could potentially discover about him is equivalent to that. And certainly the circumstantial evidence is strong.
Yeah.
And yet people are still backing him. It's really astonishing to me.
It really is, man, and I listen. I guess I should be more fair about this and say, there have been a lot of people who have faded on him, in
Mhm,
light of this scandal in particular.
mhm.
They have seen through the absolute BS from him, and they have faded. As a matter of fact, this has been probably his most costly scandal to date, even more so than the maybe the economy at this point. Although I think one's catching the other pretty quickly. And
That can
so
happen.
I need to give them credit for it, for the folks who have taken a look at this and went, wait a damn minute, this is
Mhm.
not the guy, this is not the promises you made, brother. And so there is that out there. I'll tell you the other thing that I would like to know is I wish, we're doing this just a couple hours after these things have been released. And so we have not really had the opportunity to kind of dig through it just yet, but I would like to know what all the rest of that email is about. Like the police chief, et cetera. I'm 75% there. What
Yeah,
Epstein is
I
talking about
I
in that
skimmed it.
particular email.
I skimmed that email, and like you said, we haven't had time to really just, scrutinize it, extensively, but skimming
Hmm.
it, I wasn't really clear on that. And
Yeah.
it seemed as though Epstein was responding to some things that had been discussed in a
Yeah.
prior setting. That's what it seemed
Sure.
like to me.
Yeah. Either there was an
So what he
email
was
that we didn't see or
right.
something.
Or
Yeah.
conversation that hasn't
Yeah.
been recorded or documented. But yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. But
Yeah.
even with that being said, what is there and what is
Hmm.
clear is that he seemed to believe, Maxwell seemed to believe, Wolf seemed to believe that Trump has knowledge, firsthand knowledge about things that he shouldn't have firsthand knowledge of,
Yeah.
unless,
Yeah.
unless, unless
Unless he was there.
he is in some way culpable.
Yeah.
That's what it reads like,
Yeah. Yeah. I,
you know?
I, I do, I do think that that's the case, man. I just think that, I think this whole thing has been, a ploy to kind of keep him, above, out of that, keep those files out of people's hands for as long as possible, because I think that they have read through those and they know that there is no spin once those files hit the table. There's no spin that they can put on it that's going to keep him from being a pariah at that point. Whatever is, and I'm assuming it's more stuff like this. Where he's mentioned in emails and in conversations, and because like we've said now, like this email shows, they're not. This is not a political thing. He was their friend. He was
Yeah.
their friend. He was going back and
2011.
forth. Yeah, he was going back and forth to the
2011.
island
Yeah.
and hanging out at
Yeah.
his house and stuff.
Yeah.
And so they're talking about him in that context.
And you also have to wonder, and the answer here may be in other emails or other documents, but you also have to wonder what prompted that exchange.
Yeah.
Why were they having that exchange? I
Yeah.
think that is also, the finding out the answer to that is
Yeah.
going to really, I think, open up, some additional information that may be very damning for
Yeah, that's what,
President Trump.
was my question too about what the rest of that email is referencing, because it
Mhm.
almost sounds like maybe a police chief is poking around, or maybe somebody is what it sounded like to me. I mean, honestly, just looking at it on its face, and this may be completely wrong, and so I'm not offering this up as a statement of fact in any way, shape, or form. I'm not even really offering it as
Right.
an opinion, just a complete guess without having any more context on this. Is it seemed like maybe Epstein was discussing, cutting a deal.
Mm,
And and maybe I'm 75% there, and and
mm.
who else? Maybe they're looking for other names or whatever. And so I again, I don't know that to be the case. This could be something completely different, but that I'm just trying
Well,
to guess what context this could be,
to me,
be set in.
that's not an illogical inference to draw.
Yeah.
Just remember, Epstein was, at one point was absolutely being scrutinized by by law enforcement.
Hmm.
If you remember, what happened down in Florida where he
Yeah.
got a pass from that
Costa.
guy who, yeah, Costa, Trumpite Costa. So, I mean, it could be related, and I'm thinking now again about the exchange with Maxwell and Epstein. It could be, that could be related to that.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
she talks about him being the dog in the room that didn't bark. I mean, there's just, you can infer, there's a lot we can infer from this, but, like you said, it's speculation. We don't know. But again, it's hard to dismiss it as inconsequential or and not being, worthy of further scrutiny. It
Yeah.
absolutely is. And you can't make it political, especially
Yeah.
that 2011 email. There's no way you can make that political.
Yeah, no, and just simply the fact that they're discussing Donald Trump, in
Hmm.
any context other than, boy, that Donald Trump, he just refuses to participate in the illegal underage sex. I mean, unless in any other context,
Yeah.
it's bad. It's a very bad look for him to be discussed in that way, or by those folks. And so, I just it is it's really frustrating to watch folks continue to defend this. And it's really frustrating to hear, I mean, on top of everything else, I mean, the absolute lawlessness of this administration, the pardoning of the January 6 people, many of whom have since been rearrested for other things. The pardoning of Rudy Giuliani, the pardoning of the crypto guy the other day, whose company was going into business with the Trump family. And
Yeah. CZ.
I mean, yeah, yes, they've started a company together, for God's sakes, and he's
Yeah.
part. I didn't even know him. I didn't even know him. This is what the president said on national TV. I didn't
Yeah.
even
Such a
know him.
lie. Such a
Yeah, of
lie.
course it
I
is.
mean, it's also, I mean, it's astoundingly, it's astounding how obvious the conflicts of interest are. And people are just kind of, walking around like it's not
Yeah,
happening, like there are
yeah,
no conflicts, and like it's perfectly fine for a sitting president to be participating actively or even passively, if he wants to argue that his involvement is just passive as a silent partner or silent owner or something, to be that involved in business deals of this nature, for his son-in-law to be
yeah.
actively involved in business with the very nations that he's supposedly helping to broker peace with,
Mm-hmm.
and to deal with
Yeah,
foreign policy on as a volunteer. It's all so astoundingly,
icky.
brazenly in conflict. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's icky.
there's no way that you can mention Hunter Biden to me or
No,
Hillary Clinton in her emails and say, "Oh, well,
no.
this was much worse." Are you
Yeah,
freaking kidding me?
I know. It's just it's ridiculous,
With
and
hundreds of
really,
millions of dollars
yeah, really.
being transacted? Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, at a point, some people just need to acknowledge that they've backed a horrible, lawless human
Yeah.
being, and
Yep.
that person is now president, and we've got to get him the hell out of there. All right, let's slide out. We're gonna come back in just a minute with Bill Britt from APR. We'll be back in a moment. It's Alabama Politics This Week, brought to you by Wind Creek Entertainment.